Have you ever wondered what makes a wine brand successful? I mean, there's so many launches in the marketplace. There's so many brands, and they're all competing for our attention. So what makes one wine stand out over another? And even better, when that wine is a commercial success, popular, that wine still gets critical acclaim from the critics, if you will. How does a wine brand achieve that unusual combination? Well, that's exactly what we're going to learn tonight on the Sunday Sipper Club. Hi, I'm Natalie MacLean, editor of Canada's largest wine review site at nataliemaclean.com, and we gather here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, that's Toronto, New York time, to talk to the most interesting people in the world of wine. Now, before I introduce our guest fully, I would love to know, where are you logging in from tonight? Our audience has been growing so quickly that I would love to know. Give me just a shout out of your city, state, province, country. Where are you logging in from tonight? And I will refresh. Boy, we've got people joining on very quickly tonight, which is fantastic. Hello, Beverly. Hello, Anne. Hello, Rochelle. And Lois is in Toronto. Excellent, guys. I can see you. That's great. And I'm going to assume all the AV is good too. All right, let's introduce our guest then. So our guest this evening is a fifth generation grape grower who grew up on the largest privately owned vineyard in Canada. And today she is one of Canada's top winemakers, winning more than 500 national and international wine awards, including being twice recognized as one of the top 4 women in wine by the prestigious International Wine and Spirits Awards in London, England. And she joins me now, live from her winery in Niagara. Welcome to the Sunday Sipper Club, Sue-Ann Staff. Hello.
Hi, hello,
Hi.
welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. We've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. You've been suggested as a guest for quite a long time, Sue-Ann. So finally, we get to talk. All right. So I'm just going to welcome a few more folks before we dig into our first question here. Stephen Andrews is in Waterloo. Paul and Patty are in Suffolk, Virginia. Karen Brown Eakins is in London, Ontario. Jamal Uden is from Toronto. Andrea Shapiro is here from Ottawa, and she gives a giant emoji thumbs up. Okay, so we are all set here. Thanks, guys. Keep posting. If you're just logging in, tell us where you're logging in from tonight. I always love to see the connection that happens during these Sunday Sipper Clubs. So, Sue-Ann, tell me, maybe go back to, what was the exact moment you realized you wanted to be a winemaker?
Yes, growing up on a grape farm, I had a strong influence in grape growing and winemaking. And so it was just always there. It was something we talked about around the dinner table at night, part of every day of our lives. And so I just thought early, about 15 or 16 years old, that, hey, being a winemaker would be pretty cool. I had no idea what that meant. It was really just a suggestion from a neighbor, and it kind of resonated. And the more I thought about it, the more I researched about it, the more it seemed to really resonate with myself. I loved science. I loved all the math, and I also loved artistry. So I grew up as a competitive figure skater, so music and artistry was very, very important, and as was science class. So,
Oh, wow. I didn't know you were a competitive figure skater. How far did you take that?
Yes, I tried really hard to bankrupt my parents. So I got to the junior competitive level, and so triple gold for figure skate, for free skate and dance and figures. Back in the days when we had to do our figure eights. Yes.
Wow. So from ice skating to ice wine. Anyway, I'm sure you've
Right.
heard that before, but that would have been quite the training ground for discipline and having that laser focus that you seem to have nowadays for winemaking. So that's interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Well, I'm really thankful for that experience, and I'm sad I have absolutely no connection anymore to the figure skating world because I really, truly miss it. But it was the training ground for dig deep, find that extra level, that extra bit of energy that you don't think you have and have to exploit it. The best days that I skated were where I wasn't feeling well and had a cold, and my coach would make me do probably 2 run-throughs of my program just to hammer it in that you have to dig hard every day is important. That could be competition day. Just in winemaking, it could be harvest day where you need to be, in competition form. So,
Wow, I love the parallels. Now it's bad weather. Maybe then it was an off day. And I, like you, tried to bankrupt my mother in Highland dancing. So there was the kilts and the travel in Scotland and everything else. So I can totally relate. But those are formative years that really, as you say, help you dig deep and persevere when the going does get tough. So, wow, that's great. Filling out the picture of you here. That's great. And I want to welcome Natalie Walker from Port Credit and Mike Glasgow, who's logging in from Strathroy, Ontario. Beverly Asalon is here from California. All right. Well, Beverly, keep refreshing your computer if you can't hear us, because I think everyone else must be hearing us because they're typing their cities. So, all right. So, and was there a particular aspect of winemaking, either when you were young and decided to become one, or now, even now, is there one moment that you love about winemaking that just says, wow, I'm so glad I do this?
The days where you wake up and it's just, you're going a million miles an hour right from the get-go, because the delivery truck needs to get out, so you need to get that loaded, and the vineyard crew is here, so you need to get them started, and how to train the vines and whatever they may be doing that day. And then, it just keeps on going, and your morning coffee didn't happen. And next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and someone hands you a glass of red wine from a particular barrel where you should taste, and you taste it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is why I make wine. Because until that moment, you're like, what is going on? Why is this all so crazy? And it just brings your heartbeat down. It makes you realize that wine is life. It is art in a glass, and it motivates you, and it is what keeps me rolling anyway, having a fantastic glass of white or red or ice wine or whatever it may be.
Awesome. I love the way you paint that picture of all the craziness, and then you just slow down with that first sip. That's great.
Yeah.
And welcome Jason Davies from London, Ontario. All right. So maybe take us to what you would consider your favorite failure, I like to say, that maybe the worst moment of your wine career. What did you learn? What was it?
So when I went to the University of Adelaide in South Australia for my formal winemaking degree, and came home feeling pretty self-important, I guess, maybe. And I'm about 25 years old, and I was hired as a full-time winemaking job at Pelletieri Estates. And that particular vintage, my first job was to finish off vintage 96. 96 is by far, has to be the worst vintage Niagara has ever seen. I did a contract for another winery, and at one point, the sugar content of some of the grapes you brought in was lower than the acidity level. So the acid was higher than the sugar. Like, that just paints a picture in your palate that should feel pain. And it looked painful too, because the color was atrocious. Anyway, so I started at Pelletieri. I need to finish off the 96 wines. Okay, no problem, I got it. And Charlie Pelletieri said, so I really, really need the Baco Noir. Customers are screaming for it. So, okay, no problem, I can finish it off. And so this is my failure in a sense, is that I knew the wine was not ready for the bottle. It was too acidic. It needed to be de-acidified. It needed some more blending and some help. But put it to the bottle regardless, because, you needed it. It's not that bad. And then went out to market, and it was just wrong. Wrong. And so, what I did is so when I worked at Pelletieri, my house was right there.
Okay.
So when it came down the stairs, there was the fridge. And on top of the fridge, I had one of those cool bottle holders that holds a bottle on its own by gravity. And I put a bottle of that wine there. So every morning when I came downstairs, I had to look at that bottle and say, whatever I do has to be better than this, because it can't be worse than this ever again.
And that's got to be one of the keys to success, learning from your failures. But you are tough on yourself. Wow.
I joke that I love my dog more than myself. But those are the lessons that you need to do and go through, and to figure it out. I mean, I was young in my career, and there were kind enough to give me the responsibility of taking the wines forward. So.
Okay,
Anyway,
and I have to mention your dog. Like that's a great story. But your dog is on a lot of your labels. What's his name?
So his name is Brix.
Okay.
He's the world's happiest Bernese mountain dog. And Brix is the unit that we use to quantify sugar in grapes and wine.
Right.
And so he is truly a winery dog. He is here every day with me. I can't take him on errands with me anymore because when people come to visit, they expect the dog to be here. And so he's a lover. He's a womanizer. And so men, don't get offended when he blows by you to run to your wife or your girlfriend. He's an opportunist, and he knows where the love is. So
that's great. He knows where the sugar is.
Yeah. So actually, I expect him to come wandering in at any moment. So if you hear panting in the background, it's the dog. It's not
the
me.
dog. Okay. Good to know. That's great. Anne-Marie Anthony is logging in from Ottawa. So is Francis. Francis, someday I will pronounce your name correctly. Firmenkayitz. Oof, I know I didn't do that justice, Francis, but you are so welcome here. And Beverly is now hearing us. Beverly's asking, can she get your wine in California? She was just curious.
Sure. It is a challenge. So Beverly, was it Beverly? Beverly,
yes.
Yes, just send me an email and we'll see how we can do it. There are certain companies that will ship from Ontario into the U.S. and we'll line that up with you. So so Sue-Ann at Sue-AnnStaff.com, and you'll be my new best friend.
Awesome. And we'll post that link, your email, if you want us to, in Facebook, and your website and everything else when we're done this chat. So for sure, if anybody wants to get in touch or order directly, I'm sure they're going to want to, because these are fabulous wines, and I don't want to bury the lead here by staying too long on this. But now that we've sort of gone to the low point, let's give this all a happy ending. What do you consider one of the best moments so far in your winemaking career? I'm sure there's many more to come.
I know I'm so fortunate and so lucky to have had many highs. Probably two. And funny enough, Tony Aspler is part of both of them. One was when I was named Winemaker of the Year in 2002 at the Ontario Wine Awards. That would have been announced by Tony Aspler. And so at the time, I was the first female and the youngest ever to achieve that award. So that was pretty special, and it was so unknown. I had no idea that that was going to happen that night. So I literally sat there in the chair wondering, I hope it's going to be, and I had like 3 or 4 other names in my head, and so I was just most shocked when they announced my name. And then the other one was most recently, again with Tony. Tony annually presents the Tony Aspler Award of Excellence at Cuvée. And Cuvée is our regional wine competition, or our regional Oscars of Wine night, where we all get glammed up and it takes over 40 to 50 wineries worth of wines at the Niagara Falls Convention Center. Anyway, it's an award that's given to someone that has shown leadership over the past year, a person or an institute, and I just, so I was, again, conspiracy in the background. Tony called my mother to make sure it was okay to keep it a secret and whether I could pull a speech together on the fly, and so they decided it was fine.
So they surprised you. Yes.
Complete surprise. So, and that's pretty amazing, because that's just, it's been awarded maybe 14 times, and it's names like John Ralston Saul and Tony, or Ian DeGatta, people like that, and Peter Gamble, some real icons in the industry. So anyway, I just am floored, so floored.
Absolutely. And Paul Hollander says, bravo to you for your award. Great accomplishment and honor. And I mean, you are still a spring chicken, so to speak. I mean, you've got many, many years ahead of you. So I can only imagine what's going to happen for you.
Well, that's what I
Great
thought
things.
was cute with this Tony Aspler Award recently, because I thought, well,
Yeah.
but I got a long way to go. And so, yeah, lots of wines to make and lots of wines to drink as well. So,
Oh, even better.
yes,
Excellent.
yes.
So, just before we get to that, I'm going to ask folks who are listening tonight, if you're really enjoying our conversation, take a moment to share this conversation with your friends and family. And even better, let them know why they might be interested in joining us. And as you know, at the end of every session, I draw a winner, and I'll be doing that at the end of this session for last week's, which will be a signed copy of my book, Red, White, and Drunk All Over. And if you share this video tonight, you'll be eligible to win a pack of Suzanne's Fancy Farm Girl wines, which we are getting to right now. All right. Okay, so Suzanne.
Right. It's kind of a, ooh, is it feedback? Okay, all good? Okay, all right. So yeah, so it all started with when I went to Guelph University, and there I was known as the Fancy Farm Girl. What happened was I was the fancy grape grower from Niagara, not I didn't grow up on a wheat farm or a cattle farm, and so are you hearing me? Okay. Okay. I'm hearing feedback. That's all. I just want to make sure it was all good. Okay. It just started echoing back and forth. Like a, actually, but that sounds better now. Ish. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I can. All right. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, 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 because I was from a grape farm in Niagara, while all my other classmates were from wheat farms or dairy farms in Lambton or Lanark. It probably didn't help that I had this really snazzy Trans Am with a 5-speed manual transmission, and when I went through a crowd of people, it would be, there's that fancy farm girl from Niagara. So I just assumed it was a good thing. I could have been sarcasm. I'm not sure. So anyway, I thought, let's just embrace it. And what I love about it is that everyone seems to know a fancy farm girl or want to be a fancy farm girl or wants to date a fancy farm girl. So it's been a fun brand to put together. It was, I thought I needed a brand that would have some really great presence on the shelves at the LCBO, and Fancy Farm Girl is a true, authentic story that I thought resonated. I hear you great. Okay, I hear you great. Mhm. Sure. Yeah. Can you hear Natalie now? Ah. Natalie put herself on mute. She will correct this somehow. There we go. Okay. Yeah, well, I can talk about the label a little bit because putting that label together was a bit of fun. So we, being the designers and myself, we worked with Francesca Waddell, and she's a fashion illustrator in the UK. Her work has been in Vogue UK, Vogue Turkey, and Bloomingdale's as well. So she put together, it was fun putting the versions together because they started off just a little bit more hip in 1970s version, as opposed to what my vision was, which was fresh, bright, crisp colors, have some definition to it. I wanted the look to look farmy yet elegant. I didn't want it to be too Green Acres-ish. So I thought, let's put a little element of that in there with the glam and the flash, but not be too silly. Yeah. Uh, yeah, sure. Yes, well, I've worked with Insights, which is a design company in Burlington, and they went through and through the powers that be with all the different artists they had access to, and they came up with about 3 or 4 different illustrators they thought would pull this together. So from there, Francesca Waddell made it to the top of the heap. She was super excited to be a part of this project, and sent lots of like kind of sketches to start off with, to see how it resonated with us. If I could have some old ones up here, was some original, okay, 2 seconds. Oh, yeah. Like, this is one of the beginning ones, for instance, which I was like, okay, that's cool, but it's really like watered colors and maybe a little bit too 1970s for me. And, but she's a little, yeah, a little too hipster, a little too flower and childish. And, but the red wine label, the one that you were showing previously, with the lady on the tractor with her hair up in a big booth and nice bright red lips, and there we go, that's the one with the red shiny wellies. That really really spoke to me. So we got there with that one. So it cracks me up because that's the one we worked the most on, and in hindsight, I like that one the least. It's the rosé that I like the most, and we worked the least on that one because, oh, yeah, that's the one. Fancy Farm Girl Foxy Pink. Foxy, I had to put a little attitude in it. And actually, that label won gold medal at the Ontario Wine Awards for the best label. And we actually got 68% of the vote. The general public gets to vote on their favorite label from, I think it's 10 or 12 labels that they wind down to. And so I think 68% of the vote means that we smoked it. We got it. So exciting. Yes. Sure. Oh, sure. Okay. We're going to start tasting because I'm thirsty, and all this talking is I'm getting hoarse, and my gosh. Well, yes. Yes, I'm the guest and the host, and that's okay. I get to talk a lot then. Perfect. Alrighty. So let's start with the Fancy Farm Girl Frivolous White. And you'll notice that all the Fancy Farm Girl wines have an F word associated with it, but not that F word. That F word is for the vineyard when a tractor breaks down or someone prunes a grapevine wrong, then that's acceptable, but not with Natalie playing, not on not on the video, not in my dining room, not with my mother around. So I'm going to reach to get my wine here. Excellent. So right, so the Fancy Farm Girl Frivolous White is always a blend of always Riesling dominant. So I want this wine and all the wines of this series to be easy drinking, fun, light, and really consumer friendly and really consumer savvy. So this is in. Okay, I'll repeat your comments until people can hear. And yes, okay. So Natalie has given this wine 15 stars out of 5. So, so yes, beautiful wine, beautiful wine. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yep. So Lois has a question. Is my marketing directed to women? Interesting. It wasn't what I thought of to start off with. I thought that the wines should be. I thought I was telling a story about me, but it was viewed that way. And you know what? I'm not upset by that because in truth, women buy 58% of all the wines. And so, and we all know how daunting it is to buy wine. That you walk in the liquor store and you see the sea of labels, and you're really quite confused, and it is tough at times. So I thought there's something there that tells a true, authentic story and is engaging that would work for everybody. And so the comments I've heard from men now are, listen, I'm okay drinking fancy farm girl wine. I've always wanted to date a fancy farm girl. I love fancy farm girls. So I think I've got them coming around.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Thank you.
And so did you focus group this or test them or anything like that?
Did I focus group or test any of the labels or the wines?
Yeah.
I guess the wines I focus group, I guess, through my history of working with other wineries. So I had an idea of what the palate needed to be like for like mass, or for like first selling in the LCBO, where it's $14.95, $15.95 wines. As far as the label, it was because I was so proud of it and I was so scared of it in some ways too. I just kind of kept it close to my chest and showed a few people in the industry that I really valued their opinions. So people like Len Petticetti and John Howard, and so I showed them the labels and they're like, wow, this is really cool. Murray Marshall from Diamond Estates, and of course my parents, and it was perfect. So
that's awesome.
So everyone loved it. They said go with it. Just tighten up the story because it was quite lengthy to start off with. Be really focused and be proud of it and own it, because I was quite humble about it. And that's potentially one of my I don't know, things. Downplay everything. Like own it, be it, work it, enjoy it.
I love that.
Farm girl.
Awesome. Yes. Okay. Apparently, I'm back. So anyway, you can hold the show yourself anyway. So seriously, you really are doing terrific, Sue-Ann. So I just wanted to say something, and it's not like a plug, but it's your labels, the first time I saw them, reminded me of the illustrations on my book. I don't know if you can see.
Yes.
Like that whimsical sort of characteristic of the woman.
Right.
Anyway, that's why I was so intrigued by. I loved your labels from the first time I saw them. So anyway, I am intrigued because my background is in marketing, and that's why I'm so intrigued by your launch of this brand and the way it came together, but also that it's not just a label that has a pink penguin, and they get good marks, like good scores from critics, right?
Yes. Oh, they've been very well received, and I just sent a bunch of wines out to other wine writers in the last, I guess maybe October or November, since I launched. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But the Sauvignon Blanc was just released in the LCBO in the Wines to Watch program, and so that let's do a little flood out to the writers of the white and the frivolous white, the Frissonesque Sauvignon Blanc, and the flamboyant red. And I was really impressed at the scores that came back. That's the Frissonesque Sauvignon Blanc there, and the flamboyant red. So the flamboyant red was in vintages and is pretty much sold out now. And but the Frissonesque Sauvignon Blanc will be in the Wines to Watch program until beginning of August.
Okay, and that's in the LCBO. Yeah.
The LCBO, yes.
And Stephen Andrews says he likes your Black Cat Baco Noir.
Right. So the Black Cat Baco Noir is a Blacko Noir. It's made from Baco Noir.
Yeah.
And it's had a little bit of a cult following at Halloween. However, this past year, like the 2017 vintage, was very, very light in Baco Noir. So I didn't have a lot. So I won't be doing. Sorry, Stephen. I will not be doing a Blacko Noir this year. I feel your pain. I feel it myself. I'll feel it more at Halloween when people come to buy it, trick or treat.
That's a trick.
There's no Blacko this year.
Just go with the farm girl then.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's taste. So we did the white, which is beautiful. I can now get my voice back. Beautiful, floral, balanced, nice acidity, just off dry. Gorgeous wine as an aperitif or companion to seafood, shellfish, or vegetarian dishes. So it's beautiful, Sue-Ann. Really, really nicely done. Let's try the Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
We might have started with this one, but that's okay. I'm just going to put this one in. Thanks, guys, for your patience hanging in there. Hello, Gwen. Thanks for the hand emoji. I think that's a hand. It's either a kick in the or a clap. Andrea Shapiro, is there a Verdal or grape that is often, whoops, you just disappeared. Let me see. I will come back to you, Andrea. I'm going to try to click into all the comments here. But Suzanne Powell McNeil has said she's looking for the arrival of the ladies at my door in PEI. Way to go, Sue-Ann. OAC 94, I salute from PEI.
Awesome.
You must be heading down there.
So Suzanne and I were both Aggies at the University of Guelph.
Okay.
We're both OAC 94.
Awesome.
Run wild.
What is Aggies? What does Aggies mean?
So Aggies mean that you're in the agriculture program.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So Suzanne so I was in horticulture, for instance, and that's where I got the plant sciences.
Okay.
But knew I needed to get more than that and head off to Australia afterwards. So
okay.
For winemaking.
I thought you were Aggies, like in the eggs, good eggs, or I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
let's.
Aggies.
Aggies.
If you're ever around Guelph, you'll see these like really impressive leather jackets with OAC Aggies on the back, and that's someone that's in the agriculture program.
Like the tribe.
Well, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So it's a Bachelor of Science where you're focusing on agriculture. So
it's a great school. Great school.
Yeah.
For that especially. Yeah. So here's to the here's the Sauvignon Blanc. Oh, so nice and fresh, and the melon and citrus.
Yeah. What I love about this is so aromatic. It's got like guava and gooseberry, and it really kind of jumps out of the glass at you.
Does.
And fresh and bright on the palate. So
oh yeah, I love that acidity. That's so mouth-watering. It's terrific.
I'm loving it with this time of season as well. Sauvignon Blanc in spring are like so well suited for each other.
They are.
With goat cheese and asparagus and fresh peas and fiddleheads and vegetables. It'd be just perfect.
Absolutely. And what's the price point on these wines, these fancy farm girl wines?
Right. So the frivolous white is $14.95 a bottle, and this one, the Frissonesque Sauvignon Blanc, is $15.95. All
right. Wow. Nice and affordable. That's great.
And then this one. Quite honestly, was a mistake. I swear I put down $16.95 on the pages to the LCBO, but clearly I didn't. So it's $15.95 for the next 6 months.
Maybe that's just what they wanted to see or something. But Stephen Andrews also likes your Vidal Veredal with grilled cheese sandwiches. Nice pairing, Stephen, in Waterloo. Yes. All right. And let me go back because some of these questions fell off the page. Andrea Shapiro in Ottawa, is there a Veredal that is most often featured at your winery or one that you enjoy showcasing the most? I recently enjoyed the Frissonesque Sauvignon Blanc. Loved it. Truly fresh and fruity. Awesome. Okay. So do you have a favorite?
It is working. Excellent. Right. So my favorite varietal here at Sue-Ann's Tap is Riesling, because it's what 70% of my production is devoted to, and hence why the frivolous white is pretty much will always be a Riesling base to that wine. It may have some Chardonnay or Gewürztraminer added to it as years go on, just to maintain the same taste profile. But what I love about Riesling, and this really is a new love since I moved back home to the farm and started my winery, I just really get it now how amazing Riesling is and how versatile it is. It can be the driest, most acidic wine you've ever had to being the most sweet and opulent wine as well. So I like to think of my personality that way too sometimes.
That's honest.
So I can really resonate with that. I really get to become one with that.
That's great.
And then sparkling wines too. I have a beautiful sparkling made from Riesling, and I just really that's the one that resonates. So that's what I love to drink and day to day. But also, Cabernet Franc I run neck and neck with Cabernet Franc because I just think it's an underappreciated, undervalued variety globally. And in Niagara, we can make some just stellar, stunning Cabernet Francs. And I'm really proud of. Well, we'll get to mine eventually, but how beautifully mine is tasting.
Absolutely. I was tasting these in advance, and I mean, unplug myself again, but the Riesling, your other label, your Sue Ann Staff label, which is just so good. I mean, they you've been called the Queen of Riesling or something like that. Is that?
No, well, that would be flattering. I wish. I would call the Ice Queen.
The Ice Queen.
The Ice Queen. So,
from Fancy Farm Girl to Ice Queen.
These are the nicknames that I know about as well. Just for the record. Well,
it's good to be known by something, I guess. But the Riesling is beautiful too. I just thought I'd give this a taste while we're into the whites here before we move to the Fancy Farm Girl Rosé. But
so you have the Robertsblock Riesling now?
I do. I'll hold that one up. Yes. And we listed all these.
So the Robertsblock Riesling is named after my great-great-great-grandfather, and he was the original settler to our property here 200 years ago. So I don't make this wine every year. I only make it in premium Riesling years, like 09, 11, 2014, and then this is the 2016 that you're tasting now. And every writer that's ever reviewed this wine has given it 90 points or higher. It's a gorgeous wine. It's $26 a bottle. And I think any of my competitors would have started off at a higher price point. Mm-hmm. But I think wine has to earn that $38 and $48 price point. I'm not going to come out of the gate and do that. I need this wine is living up to all the expectations of what I thought. So
absolutely, it's beautiful. What a balance. I mean, and I've also tried the other Riesling I love of yours is Love by Lou. Do you still make that?
Absolutely, it's my most popular white wine actually.
Oh, okay.
And it will be coming out in vintages. Ooh, I don't even know. They're picking it up at the end of the month, so that must be sometime in July or August. It must be launched then. So
okay.
And
who's Lou? Okay, sorry.
Oh wait, Lou. Yes. So all the white wines are named after people.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and all the red wines are named after things. I realized that there wasn't enough people in my history of my family to continue with everyone getting a wine. Which is kind of bizarre. 7 generations in Canada, we should have a pile of people, but we're not that prolific. Anyway, I'm not helping, by the way, either. So Lou was the first question, right? So Lou was my grandmother. She's the one that taught me how to do all the handwork in the vineyard, all the pruning and tying and thinning. She's my mentor. She was like 5'0" and barely 100 pounds. And I really attribute a lot of the success of our vineyard through the ages to her, because at times she would have over 100 people in the vineyard, and every one of them have to listen to her, and you listen. Let me tell you, when I came home from school on the school bus, which wasn't often because I was always in the arena figure skating instead, but if I was actually on the bus, I would be looking as the school bus went by all of our farms, looking for Grandma's car, so I knew where she would be, and come home, drop my bag, hop on a bike, and off I go and help her. So
wow,
and I loved finishing the day with her, and
that's lovely. Wow.
Inevitably, I would get out there, and my first job would be okay. So you have to picture this. I'm like 9 or 10 years old, and my grandmother would say, "You go tell Bob in the back corner to put his cigarette out and get back to work." And, 9 and 10 years old walking up to Bob, his grown adult, to say, "You're in trouble." And
that's great. Anyway. Learning how to manage early in life.
Yeah, true.
Even big burly men. Okay. All right, folks. If you are enjoying this conversation, and I'm sure you. And emojis there. Andrea loved that story. Jason Davies has joined us, and Susan Otis visits your winery every year, loves your wines. She's here in Ottawa. In fact, she used to be a teacher of my son, so she's dedicated. She loves your Rieslings especially, even before we started talking about Riesling. Yeah. So And just going down the comments that I missed earlier because of technical difficulties. Noel Cruz, you do not have to lip read anymore. Thanks for joining us. And Karen Brown Eakins is here. And who else had been commenting back down? Diane Russell Kaiser, sorry. And Doug Poulin is Pullen? Sounds like someone you know. Doug Pullen, Sue-Ann.
Yes. Doug.
So he's here. He's here.
Comments late.
Oh, bring it, Doug. No.
Sister Robin is one of my oldest, dearest friends from back in the public school days. So
nice.
Yes, me too. Ride bicycles all over Jordan, Vineland, Beams all together. So
that's great.
Not a lot of trouble, but just enough to keep it legal, you know?
Sounds like so many good memories. All right,
yes.
So let's make sure we get to these wines because we've got 2 more Fancy Farm Girl wines. So let's go on to the rosé next.
Okay.
And again, a beautiful hue in the bottle.
Yes.
And your favorite label?
The 2016 Fancy Farm Girl Foxy Pink. I think I talked about how you have to put a little foxy, little attitude in your, put some attitude in the Foxy, whether it's a shoulder movement or attitude or whatever. This is a fun blend. It's 92% Riesling with 8% Cabernet Franc added to it just before bottling. And I really do not like sweet rosés. I think they go from being serious and lovely and round to being double bubble gum in like a heartbeat. And it just takes 1 or 2 grams per liter of sweetness too much, and you're in that zone. So I like to think that this is dry enough to go well with food. I think of this with tuna and salmon. Turkey would be great with this as well. Or and then it's getting complicated because just a fresh bag of cheesies would be perfect too. It's rosé. Like really. So a hot dog and a fresh bag of cheesies, and life is good. So.
Oh, I love that pairing. Yes, especially with rosé. I love this. It's savory and juicy, and as you say, it's nice and dry. It's lovely, lovely rosé.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And this blend of 92% Riesling with 8% Cabernet Franc. Some of my winemaking friends beat me up because of it. They say that I'm making a bastardized Riesling. But I think what I love about this, though, is the Riesling gives you the acidity, gives you the backbone, and it's the Cabernet Franc that gives you those red berry characteristics. Yeah. And the Cabernet Franc was aged in an oak barrel as well. So that's giving you tannin and body and structure. So hence why this goes so well with food and on its own. So
and cheesies.
and cheesies.
Don't leave out the cheesies.
No.
I love fun pairings like that. I call shabby chic. So I think that goes with these labels too. The high-low, bringing it with sparkling wine and potato chips and those kinds of combinations. I think they're a lot of fun.
You see all these really fun new flavors of Pringles. And all the flavors of wines, like parallels. I think there's some cross references that have to happen here, and it's part of my summer training of figuring out palate training to figure what wine with which Pringle potato chips. So.
Oh my gosh, the research could be endless.
Absolutely,
especially if you're thorough.
Yes,
that's great.
I plan to be.
My kind of woman. And I just want to thank the following folks for sharing already: Andrea Shapiro.
Okay. So the blend will be changing from year to year. Okay. It's about keeping it very similar in the taste profile, and it will always be a Bordeaux blend. So this particular one, this is a 2013 that we're tasting. Okay. And it is a blend of 45% Cabernet Sauvignon, 35% Cabernet Franc, and 20% Merlot. That match should work. Yes, it does. Okay. And it's been aged in French and American oak barrels for 6 months. So it's about having enough tannin and structure there to make it food friendly, but then to be light enough to go with just with nothing, like cheese and crackers and some really great gossip with a girlfriend. That's really what I want the wine to have. Enough bridge that gap and be the best of both worlds. So
Absolutely. Wow, I love that. Pairs well with gossip.
pairs well with gossip, and like really
Juicy
like,
gossip.
and wine encourages gossip as well. So it's a win-win. So
It does.
with exaggerated tales and
This is lovely. So lots of cherry berry on the nose, very luscious, very rich, very supple, very smooth, and yet full bodied, but so juicy. I love it. Nicely done.
It's neat because I did 2 bottlings of this wine. And the first bottling in 2013 was more Cabernet Franc dominant. Because it takes longer for Cabernet Sauvignon to mellow and to age, to become really soft and supple, which is what this wine needed to be. So the first bottling of it was Cabernet Franc and more Merlot dominant, and Cabernet Sauvignon was just a small part of the blend, only 10%. But I kept enough of the Cabernet Franc and Merlot behind that I could allow the Cabernet Sauvignon to play host and be the most dominant part of the second wine. And here we go with the second version of it. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of the world of wine and how it shows why those 3 grape varieties work so well together and what each grape variety brings to the party, really. They're doing something different to the palate, to the nose, to the structure, and to the ageability of the wine.
That's great. I love that. That's the art of blending and the artistry you talked about with wine.
Right.
You know, in combination, of course, with the science of it. Fantastic. So I know you've sent me your other wines here, which are your Sue-Ann Staff wines. Let me see if I can swing around without unplugging myself here. Oh.
So there's some differentiations now between the wines. So the Sue-Ann Staff series of wines are, as time rolls out, will be wines that are produced only from the farm here, from fruit that I grow on the property here.
Okay.
And if they are coming from elsewhere, it'll be from as close to home as possible.
All right.
Well, the Fancy Farm Girl series, and so the Sue-Ann Staff brand too, is about the love and the art of winemaking. And so you'll see those wines just get better and better, and likely their price point creep up as time goes on as well. Well, the Fancy Farm Girl series will be fun, enjoyable, likely not for drinking in the future. It's about today. Enjoy life today. Enjoy the price point because they're all very reasonable, and crack open another bottle. So they're very different focuses on the 2 different series of wines.
Absolutely. So I've got the Chardonnay here, which is named after Elisha. Am I saying it correctly? Is it Elisha?
It's Elisha.
Elisha.
So Elisha. Yeah. So it's an old name. It's my
biblical.
Yeah, I know. It's my great-great-grandfather's name, and he would have been the one that built this house, the one I'm speaking to you today from. This house is built in 1893, and he would have built the main bank barn in 1882. And when they were building the house, the barn was struck by lightning and burned to the ground and had to be rebuilt in 1884. So, so I thought, given his commitment to community and his family and to agriculture, that this sturdy Chardonnay, just like the sturdiness of him, should be reflected in the wine. And so I thought the name worked well for the wine.
Fantastic. And welcome, Tom. Tom has joined. Let us know where you're logging in from. It's a lovely, full-bodied, luscious Chardonnay, but not over the top, not too oaky or buttery or anything. It's just nice and round and voluptuous. Good balance in the city.
And thank you, Natalie, because that's exactly what I wanted the wine to showcase. I really do not like that Chateau 2x4 of Chardonnays where they're so heavily oaked. And that was a style when I went to school in Australia in the mid-90s. And I could see how the world was kind of moving away from that style of wine. So, but at the same time, oak plays a really important role in Chardonnay. I think it really gives it a lot of roundness and structure and integrity. So this has been aged in a 5,000-liter cask. Usually when we age wine in oak barrels is a 225-liter barrel.
Okay.
So being in a bigger cask, 5,000-liter oak cask, that makes the oak really softly and elegantly integrated into the wine, as opposed to, I'm going to guess you're getting the, are you getting the
yes.
The
I've got Yeah, I've got the Pinot Gris. I probably am doing these out of order but anyway.
That's perfect, because that's where I would go next, actually. As I was guessing you were doing that. Because the Pinot Gris is for that person that just loves the oak. And it's been aged in barriques that had been retoasted. And I'll grab one myself here.
Okay, great.
That have been retoasted and in the 225-liter barriques for 11 months. So you can see by the color as well, too, just how much more...
Smoky and luscious and, toasted almond and crackling fire.
Yeah, so true. And so this is... so my Pinot Grigio, or Pinot Gris, the vines here, I always made in a Pinot Grigio style. I went for the more northern Italian style, keeping it fresh and light. However, I was really, I thought, downplaying the potential of this wine, but I just, quite frankly, never had time. I was making wine for the wineries and consulting everywhere and on this board and that board and everything. And so it wasn't until 2016 that I thought, you know what, I've got time. I'm home on my own. I'm making a Pinot Gris as opposed to a Grigio this year, and it's going into an oak barrel. So it's fermented in oak, aged in oak, and pretty intense oak as well. You can see from the wine, it had the smoky and spiciness, it had the intensity of flavor that it could handle that really intense oak.
Yeah, it can. There's lots of fruit there. It's like running parallel with the fruit and the structure. Everything is in balance. Very nice.
So that one, because it's a very limited production, I only made 3 barrels of it. And so it was, what ended with about 75 cases. So because of that, it's a little more elevated in price. So it's $34.95 a bottle. While the licensed Chardonnay that we tasted before is $28.95 a bottle. So.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, apparently when I go away to slides, I go silent again. So this is just a moving weather forecast here of audio. But I do want to thank the following people who have taken time to share the video. Remember, if you share it, you could win a 4-pack wines of Sue-Ann Staff's wines that we'll announce next week. So thank you to Andrea Shapiro, Paul Hollander, Christian Marcoux, and as I said, some others have shared it, but your privacy settings are on, but that's okay. You shared it, so fantastic, and thank you for doing that. And folks, if you're just joining us, take a moment to share this video. Welcome to Ephraim Barragan, who has just joined us. Tim Potter says he's been to your winery a few times and loves your wines.
Awesome.
All right, so...
not the 4-pack. I actually have an example of the 4-pack here. For
yes,
those
please. Yes.
So just like this.
Oh.
You see that photo there? So it's this really super cool ice bag.
Yeah.
And it has one of each of the Fancy Farm Girl wines in it.
That's great.
And white, red, rosé, and the Frissonnet Sauvignon Blanc. So, yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. All right. So we are going to motor through now. We've got the Mabel's VCR. I love that. VCR. So who is Mabel?
So Mabel was the last female born in my family before I was born. So there was 87 years from when I was born to when she was born.
How does that happen? Where was your mother, or what? How are you doing descendants?
It was all men that were born. So it would have been 3. I got to go this now.
Oh, in the family line. So they were marrying outside, and it was all boys being born. Okay.
All boys being born. So when my mother was pregnant, it was, well, of course it'll be a boy. Like, staffs don't have girls. And so as soon as I was born, my father's first words apparently were, "Oh my gosh, now I have to pay for a wedding." And I swear, it jinxed me right from the get-go. I'm still not married.
That's the reason. Dad.
Dad, thanks, yeah. So anyway, so the VCR is a blend.
Yeah.
It is 43% Viognier, 33% Chardonnay, and 24% Riesling.
I love that VCR.
It worked really well, eh?
Yeah.
And it was intended to just be a Viognier Riesling blend. The Viognier was really high in alcohol and quite flabby, and the Riesling was really high in acidity and low in alcohol. So they worked really well together.
Oh,
but I really felt that it lacked mid-palate, and hence, okay, well, what are we going to do now? And so I started to do some trials with Chardonnay. So it's the exact same Chardonnay that came from the cask, and from the 5,000 liter cask that the Allies Chardonnay came from.
Fantastic.
And so each wine was aged very differently. So the Viognier was aged like the Pinot Gris, so in re-toasted barriques.
Yep.
The Chardonnay in the 5,000 liter cask, the Riesling in stainless steel. So you bring all of these components together, it makes some very different wines. And
Absolutely.
what I love about this, I just bottled this in September. I'm just sending this out to writers now to get reviews. And we got a silver at the International Wine and Spirits competition with this wine, and also a commendation from them as well on this wine. So
that's fantastic.
It's resonating. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool. So
right. Well, I don't want to miss your two red wines. So you've got the Baco and the Cab Franc. Which one would you do first?
Oh, right. Time is flying, isn't it?
I know.
Do first. Let's do the Baco Noir first.
Okay. Baco first. Here we go.
Baco first. So the Baco Noir.
Yeah.
So I make my Baco Noir different than most people. So it has not been aged in oak barrels.
Okay.
They're very old vines. The vines are over 25 years old. And so the berries are very tiny and piles of flavor and complexity to them. So I just thought, why am I putting this wine in an oak barrel when the wine doesn't have tannin, and it doesn't need it. It has so much flavor. It doesn't need the addition of oak. It's like adding sugar to a tomato sauce when you don't need it. The tomatoes are ripe and taste great.
Yeah.
You don't need the sugar. Same thing here. So.
Good comparison. I like that. I like analogies that help us understand these decisions that you make as a winemaker. But yes, you're right. This is so luscious, so juicy. Whew.
And this is, I talk about this wine being something you're going to drink with things you're actually going to make, like pastas and pizzas and sausage and spaghetti bolognese, like real life food. I don't want to be the winemaker that says, have my wine with foie gras or sea bass. Like, that's not real life. Real life is pizza, pasta, and milk chocolate. Milk chocolate and this wine work really well together.
Nice. So first the cheesies with the rosé, and then a chaser of milk chocolate and the Baco. I'm liking this meal. All right.
We're getting along just fine, Natalie. It's perfect.
It's great. Oh, so awesome. Okay, so I want to get to your Cab Franc because I tasted it, just had a little tiny taste of it before we started, and it's lovely. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
This is, I am just adoring this wine more and more. So it's called the Chestnut Tree Cabernet Franc.
Okay.
It has a peculiar story. In the sense that, like the chestnut tree. So the chestnut tree is named after a very big, imposing chestnut tree that's planted on the farm here. It's over, be over 130 years old. It according to my grandmother and fables from generations past, the story goes like this. The road in front of the farm here was the main road between Queenston Heights and Balls Falls if you were traveling on top of the escarpment. So if you wanted to come by, you had to pay your toll, and you could stay the night. One night, renegades came through. The women barricaded themselves upstairs in the house. The men were in England. They were selling apples and pears in England and then bringing dairy cattle back in the spring, so they weren't home for the winter. Well, the story is that the renegades that came through was, and I can't make this up, Jesse James.
Really?
So, yes. So a riding crop was left stuck in the ground from this crew of renegades coming through. And so when the men came home from England, the women showed them this riding crop that was stuck in the ground. Well, they left it, and it sprouted to become the chestnut tree that is there now. I can't make this stuff up. I'm not that creative. So,
wow.
I got that big, huge, imposing chestnut tree. It kind of reminds me of the structure and the intensity and the body of this wine. So
absolutely.
This has been aged in oak barrels for 22 months. It's done really, really well. It was 92 points, and hence the silver at Decanter Wine Awards and silver at the International Wine and Spirits competition.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
I'm pretty proud of how it's coming. It's so youthful right now and has a 10-year life to it.
Oh, it does. It's so savory. It's just that mouth-wateriness, but savory, dried herbs like
Beautiful, beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you. Awesome.
All right. So, Suzanne, this hour has just gone like that. We're at the top of the hour. I know, right?
And we'll have to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. And you can host and be the guest. So I'm just going to sit back and hit record. You are marvelous. Thank you so much for carrying the show when we needed you to. So I really appreciate the time you've spent with us tonight and your energy, your enthusiasm, and most of all, your wines. They're so exciting, Sue-Ann, and I look forward to following where you go with all of this and your career. It's going to be great.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I had a lot of fun. Cheers to you and cheers to everyone as well.
Cheers to everyone too.
I hope everyone's drinking a great glass of wine while we were doing this.
Absolutely.
That's I hope.
Exactly, it is. It's mandatory here. So, folks, stay tuned. I have some announcements like the winner from last week. But for now, we will bid adieu to Sue-Ann and her wonderful wines. And we look forward to chatting with you again, Sue-Ann.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, folks, so stay with me here. I hope you can still hear me. Otherwise, you will have to lip read for the winner of the draw tonight. I know.
Fantastic comments from tonight. That's fabulous.
I know, but I don't think they heard anything. So, Sue-Ann, thank you. This is the two-shot where I had the audio, so I'm going to wrap up with you still there awkwardly. No, you're not awkward. It's me. So Jamie Peckin, welcome. I know you missed most of our session tonight, but you can watch the replay. Paul thinks, okay, Patty, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Guys, I'm just going to wrap this up. I'm going to announce who the winner was from last week. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, Patty. Christian, nice, nice, nice. Tim Potter, can't wait to visit this year at the winery. Love your story, says Beverly. Andrea, wow, that's fascinating. Making all our mouths water. So Sue-Ann Staff's her wines are largely available in the LCBO. That's where you can buy them, Andrea. Okay, guys. So just to wrap up again, post in the comments below what was the most interesting point you learned tonight. Sue-Ann had so much to share with us, which is fantastic. But here we go. Drum roll, please. Thank you, Sue-Ann, for providing all of the audio tonight. Anyway, the winner from last week's session. Yes, she does have a vivacious personality, Paul. Yes, Sue-Ann. Okay, the winner from last week's show, a winner of a signed copy of Red, White, and Drunk All Over, which looks a lot like Sue-Ann's wine labels, is Christian Marcoux, and I'm so glad he's online tonight. Christian in Ottawa. Yay! All right. So, guys, I'm going to jump off now officially because I'm heading over to the private Facebook group for the Get Wine Smart course members, and we're going to do a tasting of Carmenere wines. Next week, we've got Kevin Begos, who is an American wine writer, MIT Knight Journalism Award. He traced the origins of wine, has a book, very fascinating. Again, the guests are all different each week. Sue-Ann, you're a rock star. So thank you for hanging in here and being with me till the bitter end. All right. Okay. Cheers to everybody, and goodbye and good night. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Take care. Bye-bye.